In my play, Romeo and Juliet are star-crossed lovers who both meet a tragic end.
Maybe it's not an ending at all. What if she wakes up and decides to just move on?
And there you go. The premise, because And Juliet is now open at the Aronoff Center. They just opened last night. Michael Kanu plays Romeo. He's here today to tell us a lot more about it. By the way, spoiler, he's a graduate of the musical theater program at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. You're not from Cincinnati, though, right? You're close by.
Yeah, Michigan. Yep.
Okay, and you came here and studied, and now, just a few years later, here you are touring with the Broadway show.
It's crazy.
Awesome. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You said you had a professor in the audience last night.
Yeah, so special.
CCM.
Yeah, and you know, even when I was in school, I graduated in 2020, and you know, in my 4 years, I would see shows at the Aronoff Center, and I always kind of think like, oh, like I would love to like do a show here, you know, and like it's so surreal to be doing one. I walked onto the stage last night before, you know, the audience was there, and I was like, just took a moment. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
I know, right? You're like, this like take you back a moment for
Totally,
sure.
yeah.
And what did your professor have to say about your performance? Were they kind?
All positive reviews. Yeah.
Like, hey, you did work on that.
Right.
All right, so this is a jukebox musical, And Juliet. So these are all songs we know and love from the radio, right?
Absolutely, yep. All of Max Martin's #1 hits. We got Bon Jovi, Katy Perry, Britney Spears. So all of these songs you're going to recognize. Even if you don't see theater or you don't know anything about Broadway or even Shakespeare, you're going to have something that you can relate to and connect to in the show.
You're still going to love it. And the show looks colorful and big and very bold. So the premise is that Juliet wakes up after taking the poison, right?
Right.
And what happens in hers and your life?
Well,
without giving it all away.
Right, right. Well, the show is, if you will, it's almost a sequel to the traditional Romeo and Juliet, which is the classic tragedy.
Star-crossed lover.
Totally. And, you know, it's so funny because when I was young, I saw the 1968 version of Romeo and Juliet, and I was so, like, crushed by the ending. So this is really cool because as people, we all, you know, will probably think, like, oh, I wish that didn't happen at the end. Like, what if, you know, what if she woke up or something? This show allows a new story to unfold.
Gotcha.
Which is so awesome.
And how long is the show?
It's about roughly a little over 2 hours. I think it's about 2 hours.
And are there any surprises in that? Like things you never expected to learn about Romeo and Juliet? Are we having some backstory moments in there?
Oh, absolutely. Tons of backstory, not just for Juliet, because it's a brand new story, but for Romeo, for the other characters. For the nurse, you see some of these, you know, classic Shakespeare characters that also have different journeys in the show. One of the themes is that it's, you know, it's never too late for love. So everyone is kind of like on their own romantic journey in the show, which is so cool. Even Romeo, yeah. What
is your favorite song to sing? Alex, I looked at the list in here, and really it's just a who's who of things you've heard on the radio. So it's a lot of fun stuff. And what about the balcony scene?
There's a lot of nods to the classic production of it, but there is a very picturesque moment towards the end of the show where you do see that. Throughout the show, there's nods to Shakespeare through the whole thing.
Can I ask, without giving it away, because we're all short on time, are we going to leave feeling happy, or are you going to break our hearts again, like the original show?
Well, you're going to leave like, it's hilarious. So you're going to leave on a really positive note, but the show has a ton of heart, and it's a romantic comedy, right? So there is romance, and there's a lot of heart in it.
This is good stuff, Michael. By the way, And Juliet is now through April 20th at the Aronoff Center. I think it is sold out, but you can still look and see. There may be some tickets floating around there. Cincinnati.org, CincinnatiArts.org, by the way, to get your tickets if there's any left. Michael, continue breaking a leg.
Thank you.
Glad to hear from CCM Success back in town for the big show. All right, we're back after this.